Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. I stopped by to tell you all the way from Houston, Texas. I stopped by to say, be afraid. I'm going to say that again, be afraid. My name is Angel Bush, and I'm the founder of Black Women in Artificial Intelligence, and I implore you to be afraid. Anytime something has the power to reshape the way that we live, the way that we work, and the way that we govern, it deserves our attention and our caution. Be afraid. Because artificial intelligence is doing that every single day. So sit in that fear. Take a moment and breathe. But only a moment. Because fear is fleeting, and it is just the beginning. So understand that today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence from the standpoint of a framework that includes being afraid. It includes being aware. Someone spoke about being aware earlier. And it also includes action. So we're going to move from fear to understanding. And from understanding, we're going to transition to action. I want you to start thinking about artificial intelligence. I want you to start understanding what artificial intelligence is. So we're going to start from that framework of being afraid. Earlier today, probably about 2 hours ago, a young man came to me and he said, I'm interested in hearing what you say about artificial intelligence. It scares me. And I get this quite often. It scares me. People are afraid that AI is going to take their jobs. People are afraid that AI is going to somehow replace them. People are afraid that artificial intelligence is going to utilize your data in a way that you did not expect. People are afraid. They're also afraid that their data is being tracked. They're afraid that it's being loaded. They're afraid that it is being utilized against their best interests. And let me stop for a moment and give you an example. You and your friend, you're having a great conversation. You're laughing on the phone. Everything is wonderful. And the conversation transitions to, I don't know, let's just say pancakes. Everybody loves pancakes, I hope. And you guys start talking about how wonderful the pancakes are and how you make them and how much syrup you use. And then you hang up the phone. You log in to your favorite social media channel. And what do you see? An advertisement for pancakes. And oftentimes people will call me. Angel, I was just talking about it. Why is it on my screen? What is going on? So understand that that fear is not irrational. It is earned. There is this fear of AI that we're going to acknowledge, and that is fine. But there are good things about fear. Fear can be useful because it wakes us up. Fear can be useful because it causes us to ask a question. Fear can be useful because it causes us to continue to ask better questions. And then it causes us to move forward. And where is fear taking us? Fear is taking us to awareness, the second position on this framework. When we're talking about awareness, we come to the knowledge of not only what artificial intelligence is, but we come to the knowledge of what it is not. And I am here today to let you know that AI is not new. The term artificial intelligence was coined in the 1950s at Dartmouth College. AI is not new. And for those of you who say, well, I'm going to get on the ground floor of AI, it's no longer on the floor. We're actually in an elevator and we're going up. We need for you to catch up. We're talking about artificial intelligence. It is not new. And understand that it is not magic. There is a human, and they use this term quite often in AI, there is a human in the loop. There is someone behind the code. It is softwares and systems that are looking to detect patterns, to make predictions, and to automate some things. Artificial intelligence is simply systems and softwares created to mimic human intelligence. It wants to mimic you, and it wants to mimic me. That is what artificial intelligence is. I know you get these different definitions, and it's confusing, and there's a PR problem with AI, but we won't go into that today. But that is simply what AI is. And then when we're talking about algorithms, I hear many people talking about algorithms. Algorithms are simply a set of step-by-step instructions. Step-by-step instructions. Those are algorithms. That is artificial intelligence. That is what it is. And to power it, we need data. And the only way we can get data is from you and from me. But we have to understand that if the data is biased, that means that the system is biased. If the training examples are incomplete, that means that the decisions are unfair. We have to go deeper into artificial intelligence and not look at just the games that are created and the images that are created. It's about settling in to awareness. Awareness means understanding how these systems work and who they work for. Awareness does not require a title. You do not have to be an engineer to get into the realm of awareness to understand what AI is. And awareness, hear me when I say this, does not require permission. It starts with a question. It starts with curiosity. And I'm going to take a moment to give you some insight into how my curiosity was piqued. It's a little bit different. My story is a little bit different from most people. It didn't start in a classroom like this. It didn't start in a lab. And yes, I attended Central Michigan University. I have a master's degree from Central Michigan University. I studied history at Harvard. But none of this prepared me for AI. Again, you don't need permission and you don't need a title. This all started with Usher. Yes, that Usher. And let me be clear, if he ever watches this, let me be clear. I don't know Usher, and Usher does not know me. However, I was on a mission. I was going to build a robot that was going to bring me hot cocoa. I know. That's all Usher had to do. I mean, the robot. That's all the robot had to do was bring me hot cocoa. And so I started attending what most of us would call YouTube University. And in attending YouTube University, I went down this rabbit hole and I started researching. And during the process of researching how to build this robot, I continued to hear the words or the phrase, artificial intelligence is the fourth industrial revolution. And so I wanted to find out more about this revolution. And so I attended a tech event. And I saw brilliance, I saw genius, I saw a lot of different things that kind of reminded me of me. But I did not see a full reflection of myself. And so I continued to hear the phrase, artificial intelligence is the fourth industrial revolution. And in those moments, I said to myself, well, surely you can't have a revolution without Black women. And that was when Black women in artificial intelligence was born. That was when my awareness transitioned into action. That is when, in August of 2020, Black Women in AI was founded on the mission to educate, engage, embrace, and empower Black women in the artificial intelligence sector. We're at number 3, right? We've been through being afraid. We've transitioned to being aware. And now it's time for action. What do we do next? I have the information, Angel. I understand what AI means. It's simply, systems and softwares designed to mimic human intelligence. Got it, got it, got it. What do I need to do? Now, oftentimes, AI is framed when we're talking about action in a sense of, how shall we give people access and opportunity? And oftentimes they will say to you, you need to be in the room. And other times they will say to you, you need a seat at the table. But I stopped by to tell you and walk with me because I'm going somewhere. And this is an unpopular opinion, so I may not be invited back, so I may as well say what I have to say. I am not interested in simply being in the room. I've been in the room before. I am not interested in a seat at the table. Now, last year, my thought process was without power, authority, and influence. If you're going to give me a seat, it must include power, authority, and influence. But that's not right. I gave myself enough grace to change my perspective. Because what I learned was when you invited me in the room, when you gave me a seat at the table, you had already determined how much power I would have. You had already determined where I will stand. You had already determined where I would sit. You had already determined how long I will speak and what I will say. So I am not interested in a seat at the table. What's more important for me is that we need to be in the lab. Because the lab is where the magic happens. The lab is where the black box resides. The lab is where you can come to an understanding of what an algorithm is. Simply a set of instructions. And if you don't understand the instructions, you can't complain about the results. It's time that we move into the lab. We have to understand how your lab looks, because it may look different than my lab. So I want you to walk with me into this lab, because what you can do in your lab is you can become AI literate. What does that mean? I need to test out all of these systems and softwares. I need to utilize ChatGPT. I need to utilize Copilot. I need to utilize Midjourney. I need to utilize these systems and softwares, and then I need to break it. I need to break them so that I can make them better. Go to the lab. The second thing that you need to do when you're in your lab is you need to understand that we have to be critical digital citizens. Before you post that meme, before you post that photograph, before you post anything else, question whether it's real. Because AI has a way of making us believe something that is not true. And finally, the third thing that you need to do is talk to your representatives and figure out how AI is being used in your city. How is it being used in the classrooms where your children are there? In Texas, they have AI teaching class for 2 hours a day. Again, it's time to get into the lab and not just sit back and wait. There was a thing called No Child Left Behind. I'm here to tell you that I will leave no community behind. And so I invite you to join me in the lab. Thank you.